your grade book in Synergy in the teacher view. So first thing we want to do is click our mouse over Gradebook and then go down to Gradebook Setup. All right, and I'm going to select which course I want to do that with. So quarter one, and then I'm going to select my Algebra 2 course. And then we'll notice here in the first page that we see it's an assignment waiting page, and you have assignment waiting for this particular class. We have assignment, quiz, and test. That's the default from the district. And many of us have different categories other than that. So we need to add assignment types so that we can have the correct assignment types that we want. So that's the first step we want to do is add our assignment types. So we're going to click the tab that says assignment types. And here we see those three that are sent from the district level. So we want to add a new assignment type. So let's say we wanted to include a projects type. And in that sequence, maybe you want that first. And that has a due date and the color that you want that. You can customize what color you want. Let's say I want that nice bright blue right there. And then I'm going to click insert. And so that's going to put that right underneath the assignments out of that. So the only ones that I can edit are the ones that I add. Okay. So we have added the project out of that, and maybe we need another new assignment type, daily practice. And in sequence, we will put that number one again, and then has a due date and the assignment color. Maybe we want to start with maybe that color and go with a little less of the green. Let's go that nice purple color there, and then we click insert. Put that in the list there, so we have assignments, projects, and daily practice added there. And now we can go into our gradebook setup and set those things up. So we click the tab for gradebook setup, and we'll see all of the types that we've added and where to go from there. So if you have a regular assignment, let's say that is a practice assignment, and let's say it counts 20% of their grade, and I drop the two lowest of that. And then here we have a default points possible. Normally my assignments are 10 points each. So I'm going to have that default to that. I can change that as I add an assignment that's in that category in my grade book. Okay, notice up here in the top right, I have this warning that it's not adding up to 100% yet. So I've got to make sure that it does. We also keep in mind the grading policy is that it's 60% from assessments and 40% from practice. So my daily practice, let's say that counts on only 5%, or let's do 15% for that. And I drop, they can miss 5 days in a semester, so I can miss two of those, and the default points is 10 points on that. And let's say we have projects, and that. So right now I'm adding up to 35%. I've got 5% left in the practice section. So let's say I want projects to be a practice activity, and I don't drop any of those, and the default point value is 100. And then quizzes, I need this to add up to 60%, but my quizzes are 25%. I drop the two lowest quizzes. Quizzes are out of 100. The test, they need to add up. It needs to add up to be 100%. So I'm going to put in 35% for the tests. I drop the lowest test. Tests are normally 100%. And then if you want these same assignment weightings for another class, so I'm using this in my Algebra 2 class in first period, and I want it to carry over to my Algebra 2 class in second and fourth period, I can checkbox that, and it will carry the same settings over there. If I want to allow class weighting be set up by grading period, I can checkbox that, and that allows me then to select which grading periods that this carries over to. So if I want that to happen in quarter 2, I can do that as well, and in quarter, and then go from there. So I'm going to leave that unchecked for this class at the time. But you choose which way you want to do that. If your grading scale is the same in quarter 2 as in quarter 1, then that is definitely how you would keep that way. All right. So once I'm done with that, I've got that done, and then I can click Gradebook Settings, and this is more of a preference type area here. Gradebook Settings, class percentage. You want the rounding. You can have it on and go whole number rounding, 1 decimal place or 2 decimal places. I like 2 decimal places. Grading period default for new assignments. Default. So assignment due date decides what grading period that goes in. Teacher type defaults, my type to the district types, that's assignment types. And then district gradebook settings, we're going to inherit whatever set by the district. Class notifications, you get a notification when someone is added to your class. When you log in, there will be a red triangle up here in the top by the blue question mark. There'd be a red triangle that would tell you someone is added to a course. So you want those notifications on. And then don't worry about the interpretation scale. We'll set that from the district level, and then we can go from there. So there we have our gradebook settings. If you're using standards based, we don't have any standards loaded at the moment, but you could select some those if need be. Class settings. Okay, so we want to cancel there, and then so we've set up this gradebook. We got our assignment weights and all done. All that is set up and ready to go, and then that should be saved and ready. Class settings and click leave. And then here we have those things. So no, the default for your gradebook is that standards mode is off, and that it will show up in the parent grade view for that. So that all that stuff should be the same. Our assignment types that we talked about earlier, and then all of the gradebook comments. These are the things that we can add that are big special characters out of that. So I can click new, and if I want to add a comment that's missing, so a missing assignment, and then a penalty for a missing or a missing mark. Comment code is an M. Not scored value would be a 0 for that. So, and then we can remove that when it is scored. So it removes this. If you put a score in, it's going to remove the comment and the score there. And you click insert. This is our first option, sequence. Okay, and then we could put a new one in, and maybe we want this to be late assignments. Second in the order, score value, the penalty percentage. Let's do a 10% penalty when it's late. Comment code. We could do L for late, and then we don't want to remove that when it's scored because we want to show reason for the penalty of that. And the sequence is a 2 there, so insert. All right. And then we could add another one, maybe excused. Third in the sequence. Not scored values, blank, penalty is blank, missing mark. Comment code, we could do EX. And we could put remove when scored and click insert. And we have those comments that we can shorthand. The comment code is the shorthand that you would put in the gradebook that would trigger those comments. You can add other comments that you want from there for students' grades in the gradebook. Okay, so uh, setting up the gradebook, go through that one more time. You want to make sure all the assignment types that you want are in there. To add a new one, you click new and then put in that information, the type, name, where it's at in the sequence. And the sequence, it just needs to be a number. Doesn't necessarily mean where, matter where it's at uh, in the list. And then you go to gradebook and then you put in those percentages that you wanted. So assignments are 20%, daily practice, I'll drop two of those. Uh, Points are 10. Daily practice, um, let's do, that was 15. And drop two of those. And 10 points is normally what those are. Projects are 5%. Don't drop any of those. And those are 100-point projects. Quizzes, they are 25%. And I drop one of those, normally 100% or 100 points. Test, 35%. I don't drop any of those, 100, and click update. And it's going to save those as that. If I want to copy to another class, I check box that particular class for that for copying the same settings and all that. Okay, and then click update again to save that I'm copying it to another class. And then update is complete, and then we can select another class to set our percentages in. So I'll click a different class. Here I have those assignment types that I had already entered. If I leave that weight at 0, that means it doesn't count in the grade book. If so, I need to make sure about that with uh, my classes and all that. So say I need to add a final exam assignment type. Go to assignment type, new final exam, and put that forth in the sequence. Due date, its color, I want it to be an orange color, so make that a brighter orange. Just look in there. Okay, and then click insert. So now I have final exam. So when I go back to gradebook setup for my stats class, I can have the final exam there. That counts 25% of their grade. It's 100 points. Their quizzes count 35% of their grade. I drop the two lowest, or the one lowest per quarter, and then the tests count 40% of their grade. And I don't drop any of those. And those are normally 100%. And then I click update to save that for that class. Notice I left those at 0%. I need to make sure when I add assignments, I don't pick that category for my grades. All right. And then again, I could go through those preference settings and gradebook settings for each class. But you want to go through in each class, make sure that you've got that set. In quarter 2, if I click algebra 2, there it's already copied over. I pick quarter 2 statistics. There we have everything copied over. And then algebra, go to quarter 3, I would need to select a class there and set that up. So all those comments that we created there, you can create whatever comments you want to and shorthand codes that belong to you in your gradebook. So setting up the gradebook in Synergy.